Welcome to this course on Python penetration testing using Kali Linux. My name is Syed and I'll be the instructor for this course. I've been in the training industry for a little over 20 years and I've trained thousands of students who've become successful penetration testers as well as programmers. So let's take a look at what this course is all about and the structure of the course. There are about 35 or 36 lessons in total within this course. I'm going to start off with lesson 1, which is downloading Python. Lesson 2 is the difference between Python interpreter and idle. And lesson 3, I'll demonstrate the nuts and bolts of a sample Python program. So we'll understand what functions are, methods, classes, and so on. So I'll identify all of those within this lesson. Lesson 4, moving forward, I'm going to demonstrate how to create and work with Python strings. Lesson 5 is getting user input. So for example, when we write a Python program, you're prompting a user to input some data, such as a simple form. Lesson 6 is reading and writing files, how to go about actually accessing files from your own computer. And lesson 7 is working with Python expressions, mathematical expressions, the operators, logical, and so on. Lesson 8, moving forward, is working with global variables. And lesson 9 and 10 are lists and dictionary fundamentals. Lesson 11 are tuples, which are similar to list, but they're immutable. And lesson 12 is all about loops, moving forward with the conditional execution in lesson 13, and working with our ifs and while loops in lesson 14 through 16. So the objective here is to make sure that you understand the basics of Python programming. Lesson 17 is where we get into the actual penetration testing concepts. Lesson 18 we'll work with 5 phases and I'll demonstrate what those 5 phases are. Lesson 19 is hands-on into building a web server. Lesson 20 is installing VirtualBox because we need a virtual machine to install Kali Linux. So I'll demonstrate how to install and go about finding the Oracle virtual machine, downloading it and installing it, as well as all of the configurations. Lesson 21 is downloading and installing Kali Linux, and 22 is all about downloading Python for Kali Linux. So this is where we get into the actual installation of Python within Linux, and then installing the Wing IDE editor so that we can write Python programs, and that's in lesson 23. Lesson 24 is creating our first penetration program using Python. Lesson 25 is working with the TCP protocol, setting up a client using Python programs. And lesson 26 is TCP server. Lesson 27 is reading binary raw packets. So we'll create a Python program to capture those packets and take a look at what those are. Lesson 28 is port scanning using Nmap. It's a wonderful tool that I'll demonstrate. Lesson 29 and 29b is about sniffing. So first I'll demonstrate how sniffing works, and then we'll create our own sniffer, in other words, our own Python program. Lesson 30 is all about SQL injection. So I'll demonstrate how to check for vulnerabilities in your backend database. And this lesson in fact has 3 parts, so there are 3 lectures to this concept of SQL injection, and we'll create a Python program to demonstrate how this works. Moving forward with lesson 31 is brute force with Kali. This is also a 2-part lecture. So I'll demonstrate how to write a Python program that is going to use the brute force and check for our passwords. Lesson 32 is creating a port scanner using Python. So we'll also create a program that's going to go out there and scan all of the ports on our network and identify which ports are open or not. So as a penetration tester, you need to be able to be proficient with all of these tools so that you can successfully test network against any vulnerabilities. So the objective of this course is primarily to work with Python programming language and then create our own tools using the Kali Linux platform to test our own network and become penetration testers. So without further ado, let's jump right in and let's move to our next lesson.